Jean Vigo was a French film director who helped establish poetic realism in film in the 1930s. He was a posthumous influence on the French New Wave of the late 1950s and early 1960s. Biography: Vigo was born to Emily Calero and the prominent Spanish Catalan militant anarchist Eugeni Bonaventura de Vigo y Sala. Copyright S. Much of his early life was spent on the run with his parents. His father was murdered in the infirmary of Fresnes prison on the night of August 13, 1917. The Gomez biography of Vigo says that a common criminal named Bernard, who had been put in charge of keeping watch over the sick prisoner that night, supposedly approached Almerida's bed while he slept, and used shoelaces to garrote his victim. The autopsy showed that Almerida was suffering from peritonitis and a ruptured appendix. There was over a liter of pus in his abdomen. His end had been near anyhow. Vague theories circulated that Almerida was hushed up by order of extreme socialist politicians, Malvi and Caillaux, men later punished for wartime treason. The young Vigo was subsequently sent to boarding school under an assumed name, Jean Sales, to conceal his identity. Vigo was married and had a daughter, Luce Vigo, in 1931. He died in 1934 of complications from tuberculosis, which he had contracted 8 years earlier. Career: Vigo is noted for 2 films which affected the future development of both French and world cinema, Za copyright Route de Conduite and L'Atalante. Za copyright Route de Conduite was approvingly described by critic David Thompson as 44 minutes of sustained, if roughly shot anarchic crescendo. L'Atalante was Vigo's only full-length feature. The simple story of a newly married couple splitting and reuniting is notable for the way it effortlessly merges rough, naturalistic filmmaking with shimmering, dreamlike sequences and effects. Thompson described the result as not so much a masterpiece as a definition of cinema, and thus a film that stands resolutely apart from the great body of films. His career began with 2 other films, A Propos de Nice, a subversive silent film inspired by Bolshevik newsreels which considered social inequity in 1920s Nice. Antares, Roi de l'eau, a motion study of swimmer Jean Tares. None of his 4 films were financial successes. At one point, with his and his wife's health suffering, Vigo was forced to sell his camera. Za copyright Route de Conduite was banned by the French government until after the war, and L'Atalante was mutilated by its distributor. By this point, Vigo was too ill to strenuously fight the matter. Both films have outlived their detractors. L'Atalante was chosen as the 10th greatest film of all time in Sight and Sound's 1962 poll, and as the 6th best in its 1992 poll. In the 1990s a complete copy of L'Atalante was found in the British Film Institute, and the print was restored to its original version. Writing on Vigo's career in the New York Times, film critic Andrew Johnston stated, "The ranks of the great film directors are short on Keatses and Shelleys, young artists cut off in their prime, leaving behind a handful of great works that suggest what might have been." But one who qualifies is Jean Vigo, the French director who died of tuberculosis at age 29 in 1934. Filmography: 1930, A Propos de Nice, 1931, La Notation par Jean Tares or Tares, Roi de l'eau, 1933, Za copyright Route de Conduite, 1934, L'Atalante. Legacy: the Prix Jean Vigo is an annual award given since 1951 to outstanding French film directors. The Jean Vigo Award is an annual prize given to Best Director at the Navarra International Documentary Film Festival in Spain. Vigo, Passion for Life, a 1998 British biopic about Jean Vigo, starring James Rain. Tribute Musician Steve Aday wrote a song called Dita Palo on his 2012 studio album The Tower of Silence. The song was written in response to Vigo's L'Atalante. References. Further reading: Michael Temple, Jean Vigo. Manchester, Manchester University Press, 2005. External links: John Vigo at the Internet Movie Database, Censors of Cinema, Great Directors Critical Database, Jean Vigo Anarchist Encyclopedia, Jean Vigo, Punto de Vista Festival sees Jean Vigo as a permanent point of reference and guide.